So, I hear you're leaving us tomorrow.
Yeah, isn't it exciting? By this time Saturday, I'll be adorning the world's most beautiful ring finger.
Adorning? What kind of talk is that?
Well, that's what I hear my owner saying about the woman he's going to marry.
Must be a college man. That's good.
If you'll pardon my saying so, I've heard that you've been through these ceremonies before.
I'm old. I've been around. I'm not ashamed of it.
Well, how did you wind up back here?
Love is not forever, honey.
Oh, well, this one is. My owner and his fiancée make these goofy faces at each other all the time, and they drool so much they should be wearing bibs.
That's disgusting.
I think it's romantic.
To each your own.
So tell me what it's like.
What, drooling?
No, tell me what a wedding's like. What's a marriage like? You've been there.
3 times, to be precise.
I didn't think people were allowed to get married that many times.
They're allowed to. They're not supposed to.
Well, it won't happen to my couple. This love is forever.
Ah, the innocence of youth. It's refreshing.
So tell me what's going to happen.
Well, the groom will come here tomorrow and pay for you.
It makes me feel so cheap.
It's okay for rings to cost money. We're considered an investment.
Oh. Well, how much do I cost?
2 months' salary.
Salary? Well, I'm being exchanged for something green and crunchy.
Not celery. Salary. It's the money people get paid for doing whatever they do.
Well, how much is 2 months worth?
It depends on what the guy does. If he's a stockbroker, you probably cost about $10,000. If he's a radio announcer, he couldn't afford you. He'd have to help you find a ring and a box of Cracker Jack.
What happens after I'm paid for?
Then they put you on a soft pillow in a box. I hope you're not claustrophobic.
No, but I am afraid of the dark.
You'll have to tough it out. You won't be in the box long. Hopefully you'll get a best man who knows what he's doing and doesn't get nervous. The first wedding I was in, the best man dropped me in the garbage disposal. Oh. The bride and groom should have taken that as a sign.
Oh, that sounds icky.
To this day, I can't stand the smell of fruit salad.
What next?
The smell of coffee makes me gag, too.
I'm sorry to hear that, but what happens next?
I still have nightmares about rolling around in
oatmeal. I get the point. Can we move on?
Sorry. It was such a traumatic experience. Where were we?
Well, what happens after I get dropped down the garbage disposal? No, I mean, what happens after the best man takes me out of the box?
You mean if he takes you out of the box.
Are you going to tell me another best man horror story?
No, the first one was horrible. This one's just goofy.
Tell me about it.
Well, the second wedding I was in, the best man forgot to take me out of the box. So when the priest asked for the ring, the dodo brain hands him the box.
Well, that's not as bad as being dropped down the garbage disposal.
You're telling me. Anyway, assuming the best man remembers to take you out of the box and doesn't do something moronic like slip you on his finger to be sure he doesn't leave you behind.
Don't tell me that's happened to you, too.
My third wedding. I don't know what the bozo was thinking. He had a ring finger the size of a carrot. What a mess. They tried everything to get me off. Butter and olive oil. Oh, it was like being in that garbage disposal again. Then the groom said something about a hacksaw, so they went to go get...
They were going to cut you off?
Of course not. They were going to cut the best man's finger off.
Oh, never mind. I don't want to go there. Let's assume I have a best man with half a brain.
Then you wind up in his pocket until the big moment.
And then?
Then the best man reaches for you and hands you to the groom. The groom puts you on the bride's finger. Then they say some meaningless words, and it's over.
Meaningless words? But I thought wedding vows were supposed to be sacred.
Honey, the divorce rate is over 50%. I often wonder why people spend good money on clothes and caterers and photographers and limousines and us for something that'll probably blow up in their faces.
If you don't mind me saying so, I hope I never get as cynical as you.
I hope you never have to.
So once I'm on the bride's finger, then what happens?
Then you go to the reception, and everybody's happy, and the couple cuts the cake, and the groom smashes a piece in the bride's face.
Well, that's a curious custom.
That was how my first marriage ended. The groom smashed a piece of wedding cake in the bride's face, and she got really upset. He said it was tradition, but she said it showed a dark side of his personality that she didn't like. So, since the priest was standing right there, she had him annul the marriage on the spot. I was back here in the display case so fast, my pillow didn't have time to get cold.
Wow.
See why I'm cynical?
I'm sure my owners will make it through the reception. So what then?
Then they go on their honeymoon and... Do you want me to go into detail?
Well, I don't think that'll be necessary.
Then they come home and go back to work and buy a house and have kids and argue with their in-laws and argue with each other about their in-laws and argue with their kids and argue about their kids.
I think I detect a pattern developing here.
Then they argue about sex and about money and argue about who's responsible for all the arguing. Then they have affairs and get caught and decide they can't stand the sight of each other anymore and get divorced and start the whole process over again with the people they had the affairs with.
Oh, yikes.
You got that right.
That won't happen to my owners. They're crazy about each other.
You told me about the drooling.
We'll be married forever. I'll never leave her finger.
That's what they all say.
Well, thanks for the advice. Don't take this personally, but when I leave here tomorrow, I hope to never see you again.
I feel the same.